One. Hey folks, Craig Danger, Final Record Player. Today we're going to be talking about Blaxploitation soundtracks. I've got 7 of them, and I'm also going to rank them, which I think should be fun. I do not have a lot of Blaxploitation soundtracks. I have 7, shockingly enough. Also, I don't have a lot of soundtracks. Just as a tiny preamble, I'll just note that soundtracks often, to me, don't make a ton of sense, and that's simply because outside of the context of the movie, sometimes they can just be like just a selection of tracks, which I'm also not a big compilation guy either. And soundtracks can be infamous for just random selections all over the place. What I like about Blaxploitation soundtracks, you don't have that. Typically, you're talking one artist. You are talking about some jams, some songs with vocals. Then you're talking about, obviously, the instrumental, the scoring stuff. I don't particularly love the scoring stuff, so I'm always going to gravitate towards soundtracks that actually have more tracks on them, like actual songs and not just instrumentals, which, of course, I can get in the mood for those too, and sometimes they're great, as we'll see. But enough of the preamble. Let's just get right to it. Start with number 7, Gladys Knight in Pipe Dreams from 1976. This, I took a look, not available on YouTube. I couldn't even find a trailer on YouTube. This basically has something to do with a lot of black people going to Alaska to help build the pipeline. And I guess, there's always the shady white boss in all of the Blaxploitation films. Shady white bosses, still a factor in North America. Anyway, so the shady white boss is up to something, and Gladys, of course, is the heroine, and she meets a dude, and etc. Anyway, as far as the soundtrack goes, I just re-listened to this, and this is actually not bad of an album. It's produced by Bubba Knight. Bubba being, of course, I believe Gladys's brother, and the only surviving Pip as of 2023. So R.I.P. the 2 other Pips, and way to go, Bubba. You're still chilling. So was Gladys, by the way. This album, like I say, I just listened to it, and you know what? It's not bad. It's really good. I would say standout tracks. There's a few ballads on here that are not maybe the best, but Alaskan Pipeline is one that comes out. When the Pips come out, so does the Funky. And the Pips don't appear to be on all of the jams on this particular one, but this one is very good. And when the Pips do come out, again, it's getting funky. This is actually, like I say, this is getting better and better with each listen. But it will be my number 7 for today. This, of course, used to be apparently, as of 1977, this was formerly the property of the Venice Public Library, as a matter of fact. But somebody stole it, sold it to a record store, and I bought it. Either way, kind of statute of limitations, this, of course, is about a 46-year-old record. So, number 7, Gladys Knight in Pipe Dreams, actually stars in this. I don't know that it went all that well, and I've seen a couple of clips on the old YouTube, and I'm not saying that she's going to win the Oscar. And I don't know that she actually was in any other films. But Gladys is always fantastic, and this is a great one. If you see it, $5-6, it's worth a pickup. I actually moved this, as a matter of fact. This one was like kind of a late move for me because of my next one, Claudine from 1974. This one is good. You know what? This movie, actually, if you want to take a look on YouTube, you can actually search Claudine full movie and watch this movie. I did watch a little bit about it, and the themes are a little dark, but they're real. Basically, a lot of them are how it revolves around a couple who meet She has like 5 kids. He's like a garbage man, but there's a lot of systemic stuff that sort of keeps black people on welfare. And I mean, some of the songs on this one are kind of that variety. So it's kind of a comedy, but it's kind of a very serious film as well. And it really is kind of got that 70s slow speed to it. So it's not that great of a movie, but it was kind of fun to check out. Obviously, great. James Earl Jones is in this. Diane Carroll looking fantastic in this movie. This is pretty good. Probably the standouts on this one. Make Yours a Happy Home. Make Yours a Happy Home. That's a good one. It's kind of that one kind of was earworming on me, stuck in my brain. Good, like I say, pretty good album. Everything's written by Curtis Mayfield. The downer of this, and then there's of course Mr. Welfare, which I think was a single off of this, which the subject matter is a little grim. The story is often a little grim, but in the end, it's basically like a love story. And James Earl Jones is fantastic. But Claudine, this comes in at number 6. Again, Gladys and the Pips, always good. The material on here is not, it ain't no Superfly, is what I'm saying. But it is, worth a pickup. Bit of a classic, interesting soundtrack. Now, this one was at number 6. Brothers Together from 1975. Barry White does this soundtrack. I just listened to it, and I had no choice. I had to move it above Claudine, because Claudine is good, but this one is really good, and that's because this one has some vocal jams, but really the scoring and the instrumental tracks on this one kind of stand out, which is unsurprising. I mean, we're talking about Barry White, we're talking about the Love Unlimited Orchestra. This film, you can also get this one on YouTube. As far as I can tell, I did watch the trailer to this. It's basically about a couple of kids who, there's a black cop in their neighborhood, and he's like a good cop, which, is, hey, it's maybe not so common. So the good cop gets killed by a mystery dude, and basically the rest of the show, the kids go around and say, we gotta stop this. I don't know. I didn't watch the whole movie. But the soundtrack itself, like I say, very good. There's really about 3 or 4 vocal tracks on this one. But like I say, basically, a lot of the instrumental stuff is actually very good and very Barry White-esque. So if you like things with strings, some funky beats, this one definitely, like I say, it's hard to pry me away from big upping Gladys Knight whenever possible. But BW on this one, woo! This is a strong record. Impressive, actually. I did not expect it actually to be this good. This one has grown on me a lot more, perhaps even than Pipe Dreams. Great record. Together Brothers just picked this one up recently. This is kind of what spawned this whole idea. Sparkle! Another Curtis Mayfield written joint. This, of course, is Aretha Franklin. This was kind of seen as her comeback album from '76. Not as disco-y as it looks, as a matter of fact. This is just basically kind of a comeback album for her, with everything written by Curtis Mayfield. Great songs on it. The movie itself, I don't think that it is available, but it may be available on YouTube. So the plot on this one is basically there's a girl group. They start out, and one of them gets all like beaten up by her boyfriend, and he's on drugs, or maybe she's on drugs. This is all from the trailer, by the way. And then, so she can't be in the group. So then Irene Cara, of course, classic singer. She did the kind of key track on the Flashdance soundtrack. She basically becomes the star and sparkles, I guess you could say. This is a good Aretha album. This is not an early 70s golden period Aretha album, but very good. If there's anything missing with this, it's just that musically, it's not outstanding. There's not a lot of outstanding musical parts, except, of course, Aretha. Aretha's ripping all over it. So this one made my number 4. Good soundtrack. This is highly available. And like I say, in this, I think this was 76, between about 75 and 80, there's not a lot of albums that are seen as kind of very good or excellent. And this is probably, this one might be the only one. So worth a pickup, not as disco-y as it looks, and actually a very good album. Oh, talking my book now. We're talking my book. Talking about Melinda from 1972. Who's that? Oh, is that the Iceman? Could be the Iceman. It's the Iceman. Yeah. Jerry Butler, Melinda. This one I ordered specially. I really like the soundtrack, actually. This one is really only got about like 2 or 3 vocal numbers, but again, I just cannot deny in 72 Jerry Butler, and at that point he's working with the songwriters workshop that he sort of created in order to develop material. This is really great. The classics on this are Speak Truth to the People is really good. And then I guess there's the Melinda reprise. Actually, Tank's theme and Love Is, all vocal tracks, all really good. But again, so are the non-vocal tracks, except for the blues, in brackets, Dope Pusher's theme. Woo. That is just a slow blues jam, and it goes on and it goes on, and it's like, oh. It actually makes you want to do drugs to basically not hear it or put yourself in a better mood. I don't know what to say. Not my favorite, but overall, this would be the number 3 for me. Just classic stuff. This is 72. Meanwhile, Jerry's also working on The Spice of Life, his double album, which in my opinion is his best. 72, great year for Jerry. This movie is available. I saw it. It's not a good movie. It's not a good movie. Ask me what it's about. I don't know. I really don't. I watched it, but it's not great. But this one is also actually available on YouTube. If you kind of dig a little deeper, Melinda full movie, you got to go maybe into the page 2, but maybe even on page 1. You can watch this movie, but again, as a person who actually sat around and watched it, it's not that great. But soundtrack is awesome. Jerry Butler, 72, Melinda. Whew. And this one was a toughie for me because, of course, we're talking about Willie Hutch, my man. Love me some Willie Hutch, Pam Grier, Foxy Brown. This appears to not be available. This is kind of everything Pam Grier. It's getting harder and harder to see these movies on YouTube. This one's not available. I would say compared to this was actually a tough one. I didn't want to, step over the line and ruffle too many feathers. But this almost made my number 1 simply because in terms of being an album with vocal tracks, this is excellent. This is prime Willie Hutch. Again, this is from 74. Admittedly, the opener, Chase, is completely a ripoff of Shaft. But, I mean, there's fantastic, the whole thing is really good. The theme of Foxy Brown. My favorite is Give Me Some of That Good Old Love. Again, my opinion, maybe only, but everybody's looking for love. But when you specify that you're looking for some of that good old love, I mean, you're going to win. You're going to win. And that's what Willie does. All over this album, it's very good. Whatever you do, do it good. Ain't that mellow. This is a great album. Actually, I during my kind of preparation for this video, I was listening to all these soundtracks, and this one shocked me. Less in terms of the instrumental stuff, and more in terms of just funky vocal jams. This one was about $20, or 25, I think, maybe 30. This is a re-release probably from like 2008 or whatever. You got Pam Grier on the back. Oh, Pam, always looking fantastic. Also on the front. So yeah, number 2 for me, Willie Hutch. These, of course, are ones that I have in my collection, number 2. And of course, I only have 7. So let's keep going and talk about number 1. Well, this is, again, I didn't want to, it's kind of one of the originators, although I was just reading today that Sweetback's Badass Song was actually one of the first Blaxploitation not only movies, but also soundtracks. And that one actually would definitely make my want list. This one I just listened to yesterday. It's fantastic. The instrumentals are good. They're not blow away funky like the Brothers Together by Barry White, but they're very good. And let's be real, this was a huge innovator. This album, I'm pretty sure it won a Grammy. It definitely won an Oscar, at the very least, at least for the title song. It's a good album, but again, the more and more I heard it, the more I thought, well, Foxy Brown. But again, just for being an originator type of album, nothing beats Shaft. This movie is actually very good, very good. Foxy Brown is actually not a bad movie either. Not available on YouTube. This one, of course, not available on YouTube. But the original movie is definitely worth a watch. It's fun. There's also the 2016 version with Samuel L. Jackson. It's okay. It's okay. What am I going to say? It's a remake, so you get what you pay for. So that is my top 7 Blaxploitation LPs that I own. Now, as far as a wish list, if I was to add, let's say 3 to the mix, I would definitely add Superfly, which I just saw for about $20. I took a look at the record. I didn't like the condition of it, but there are a lot of represses of that particular one. Inevitably, I will be picking that one up. Another one that I would consider definitely on my want list, The Mac. Willie Hutch, again, sort of his first soundtrack before Foxy Brown. Issue with that one is that it's between $35 and $50, or maybe 80. It's really hard to get, even on Discogs. It seems to be really incredibly expensive. So I have not picked that one up just because the expense alone. I have been listening to it a little bit more though on the streaming, and you know it is a really, really good soundtrack. And I guess the third kind of it as a one to watch for, an LP that if you see it you should get. There's a Bill Cosby movie, and I think Sidney Poitier. I might be wrong on that, but Bill Cosby. I know. Also Bill. Yeah. Let's not talk about Bill. But this soundtrack is called Do It Again. It's all staple singers with Curtis Mayfield writing all the material on it. And you know what? I was just listening to it yesterday. Fantastic album. I thought I actually owned it. I actually just have the first Staples album after that soundtrack that Curtis Mayfield also wrote and produced. But at any rate, Do It Again, another really funky soundtrack. In fact, I would say after Superfly, probably one of his better ones. So there you go. I just ranked 7 Blaxploitation soundtracks. Again, if you're not a soundtrack person, Blaxploitation soundtracks are a little bit better because they do, in a lot of cases, will have a cohesive sort of sound to them, and they will also have, in some cases, particularly the Willie Hutch ones, the Pipe Dreams, the Barry White one, very, very strong, a lot of vocal tracks, which basically kind of makes them another album. So anyway, that's it. Like, subscribe. Thank you again for tuning in. And you know what? I guess we'll go ahead and we'll see you on the next one.